I'm Dr. Shweta Mittal. I have done my PhD from Barkatullah University, FDP from IIM Ahmedabad. I am currently pursuing my postdoctorate at IIT Delhi, funded by ICSSR. I have written 2 books and numerous research papers listed in a journal of repute, that is listed in ABDC. My case study has been published in Harvard Cases. My today's topic is nature of staffing models and strategy. Now, before I take you through with my lecture, I would like to pose few questions to you. Now, suppose there is an organization, whosoever come first into their organization looking for a job, when they have a job vacancy and they hire a person. Now, there is another organization, what they do, whosoever have come looking for a job in their organization, they have jotted down their names and put them into a bowl, and then they pick one of their chits and see whosoever name comes, they give them the job. So, do you think there is a problem in hiring in such a way? What are the potential problems when you recruit like this or when you select a person like this? Another question is, would it be desirable to hire people only according to the person job match, ignoring the person organization match? Why? Why do we have to look into both the parameters, person job match as well as the person organization match? And what are the 13 strategic staffing decisions we must see while we are acquiring, deploying and retaining our employees? All these questions will be answered in my today's lecture and my forthcoming lecture too. Now, looking at the bigger picture, the organizations are combinations of physical, financial and human capital. What do we understand by human capital? Human capital basically comprises of knowledge, skills and abilities of people, their motivation to do the job. So, when we talk about the quality workforce in the organization, they are basically the human capital. The organizations are the stockpiles of the human capital, so which are acquired, deployed and retained in the organization to meet the organization effectiveness. So, the organization effectiveness means that they add value to the profitability of the organization. They add value or they increase the market share of the organization. They basically satisfy the customers and helps in the sustainability of the environment. We all know that human capital is a costly proposition. They are a cost to the organization, and average organizations employee cost, wages or salaries and benefits altogether is over 22% of its total revenue. Now, we all know that organizations are made up of brick and mortar and or they function through online. So, how does one organization is different from another? It is their human capital which differentiate one organization from another. Organization that capitalizes on human capital have a strategic advantage over their competitors. So, what do we mean by staffing? Staffing is the process of acquiring, deploying and retaining a workforce of sufficient quantity and quality to create impacts on the organization's effectiveness. Now, what does this definition basically imply? First, we need to acquire, deploy and retain the employees. Staffing is a process or a system. It is quantity and it has quantity and quality issues, and it results in organization effectiveness. Now, we will basically understand each of these parameters in detail. Now, when we talk about acquisition activities, it involves external staffing systems that govern the initial intake of applicant into the organization. So, what are we doing? We are bringing the quality people into our organization. So, we need to plan for that. We need to plan the number and the variety of the people required in our organization. We need to establish the job requirement in terms of knowledge, skills and abilities of the people. We need to establish the reward for the job. We need to conduct the recruitment process, and then the selection will take place where we assess the KSOs, that is knowledge, skills and abilities of the person against the job requirements. When they matches or there is a fit between the two, then we give them a job offer and we hire them. So behind the acquisition, there is a number of the processes which goes into it. Now, what do we mean by deployment? Deployment refers to the placement of new hires in the actual jobs they hold, something that may not be entirely clear at the time of hire, such as the specific work unit or geographic location. So when an organization, suppose organization XYZ goes to the college and select 50 students out over there. So when they select the 50 students out over there, the 50 students are not sure that what will be their job like. So after going through the training or through the orientation, they come to know what is their actual job and where are they going to be placed in the what will be their geographical position out over there. Then is the retention system, basically seeks to manage the inevitable flows of employees out of the organization. Out of here, what we mean that the outflow is basically involuntary and voluntary. When we talk about the involuntary flow of the employees, it is as per the decision of the organization. Suppose the organization is shutting down the plant, so they will be laying off the employees. That will be the involuntary outflow of the employees. Then there is another like voluntary flow of the employees. When employees wish to leave the organization in search of a better job or a better rewards. That is the voluntary avoidable turnover, which the organization can handle or can stop it to some extent by giving the employee a better position and a better reward. And there is a second voluntary unavoidable turnover, where the employee leaves the organization because his spouse has been transferred to some other place and he or she leaves the organization to travel with his or her spouse. So you cannot basically avoid that kind of a voluntary turnover. So it is very difficult that organization doesn't have any outflow, but what the organization can do, they can minimize that outflow. How they can minimize that outflow is by restricting the avoidable turnover intention. That is, if the individual is leaving the organization for a greener pasture, they can retain them by giving them a better salary or a better position if that person deserves it. Now, staffing is a process that establishes and governs the flow of people into the organization, within the organization and out of the organization. Staffing is not an event that you hire 2 or 3 people, then there is an end. It is a whole process which moves with the flow of people into the organization, within the organization and out of the organization. Now, all the flows are interconnected with themselves. Now, staffing is a process that it starts with the planning, then the HR strategy, recruitment, selection, decision and then the retention. If any one process is affected, then other process will also be affected in the same way. Now take an example. Now there is an organization who would like to establish their manufacturing plant in another geographical area. Now what they have to do? They need to gear up their recruitment process. Now when the recruitment process is geared up, so what will happen? For the selection, they will have many applications to be assessed and evaluated in accordance to the KSO, that is knowledge, skills, abilities and others with respect to the job requirements, and they have to speed up the decision and give them a job offer which is lucrative enough that they take that offer for themselves. The staffing, the organization requires attention to both the numbers and the types of people brought into, moved within and retained by the organization. Now when I talk about this, that you need the number and the quantity together to run the business. You need to have a sufficient quantity and quality of the people to run the organization and the business. The quality is basically assessed by the knowledge, skills and abilities the person have to do their work appropriately, effectively and efficiently. Staffing system exists and should be used to contribute to the attainment of organizational goals such as survival, profitability and growth. That basically comprises the organizational effectiveness. Now, we all know that leadership is a premium thing and it has a lot of stakes involved with it. Now, when you have to acquire the leader, there are two reasons for it. That you acquire the leader to turn around the organization as a whole. Lee Iacocca transformed the Chrysler Corporation. Ellen Mitchell basically bought all the sick steel units and turned them into a profitable units. So, what is the flip side with the leadership talent is to retain it. Now, if the leader leaves the organization, they carry the wealth of information and skills also together with himself or herself. So, they leave a lot of void within the organization. So, the organization needs to be very, the organization should be very aware that how they have to retain their leader itself. Now, there are many organizations who are looking for the talent hunt and loading up. So, this strategy works when the talent is rare and unique and the organization is sure that they will broaden their value and will give them a competitive advantage. They basically do the loading up because they know that these talented people are going to add value by designing the product or by innovation in such a way that they will have a competitive advantage from the competitors. Now, talent acquisition. Talent acquisition is not important only for the competitive advantage, but to run the business as a whole. If there is a shortage of the employees in your organization's work is going to suffer a lot. Your customers are going to suffer. You will lose the opportunities in your business. So, you need the talent acquisition to run your business smoothly. Now, the staffing models. The staffing models are as such. One is staffing quantity, that is levels, staffing quality, which basically works with person job match, person organization match, staffing systems components. When I talk about staffing quantity, it basically talks about that you basically look into the number of the employees you will have in your organization. It basically says that you can forecast how many people would be available in 6 months. It can be done for the units and for the organization. Now, when I take an example of a unit, what it will do? They will forecast that how many of the employees will be there in their organization for 6 months. And they forecast that it will be X minus 2. And the forecasted requirement would be X. So, what is say? That minus 2 is basically the deficiency out over here. When there is a deficiency, that means they are understaffed. That unit is understaffed. Now, you need to recruit that 2 people after 6 months for that unit. Now, what happens? That same unit, suppose they forecast that they will have X plus 2 employees after 6 months. Then plus 2 will means that they are, and what is the requirement of them is X. It is the same. So, that means that plus 2 is like overstaffed. Why they have become overstaffed? It could be because of any reason. Maybe the person has been transferred into the organization or the person from the junior level has been promoted to that position. So, they are overstaffed. What they will do now? What will be their strategy? They will freeze the vacancy level for that unit itself. Now, if the unit have the X number of employees, they forecast that there will be the X number of employees will be available after 6 months, and the requirement is also the X number of employees. So what does this mean? That they are fully staffed now. They don't require any person in coming 6 months. After 6 months, they will not require it. They are fully staffed. When I talk about person job match, there are few anecdotes which I would, or there are the few statements which I would like to read. Ram just doesn't have the interpersonal skills that it takes to be a good customer service representative. Priyanka has exactly the kind of budgeting experience this job calls for. If we hire her, there won't be downtime while she learns our systems. Sunil says he was attracted to apply for this job because of its sales commission plan. He says he likes job where his pay depends on how well he performs. Jyoti was impressed by the amount of challenge and autonomy she will have. Now, when you look into these 4 statements, what you will see that there are the job requirements. That means the job requirements are the interpersonal skills, budgeting, experience, and there are the rewards attached to it. That are the sales commissions plan, and secondly is challenge and autonomy. You will also see that there are the employee characteristics involved into it. That is, Ram had low interpersonal skill. Priyanka was high on budgeting experience, and they have motivation also. What are the motivation? That is pay for performance and the need for challenge and autonomy. If you look at it, there is a degree of a match between the job characteristics and person characteristics. And with the first statement, when you see out over here, you will see that the Ram doesn't have interpersonal skills that it takes to be a good customer service representative. What does this mean? That the degree of fit between the job requirement, what is the job requirement out over here? That it is that they require the interpersonal skill. The job needs a quality of interpersonal skill, and Ram doesn't have. So that the match is there, not there. The fit is not there. So when you have a varying kind of fit, or the degree of fit is different, so what will happen? There will be a consequence. The consequence could be the person would leave the job very soon. The retention would be a problem because he will not see that there is a match between the job and a person it's out over there. So person job match basically means that the job matches with the person and it leads to the positive impacts like attraction, performance, retention, attendance, satisfaction and others. When I talk about job, it has 2 parameters, that is requirements and rewards, and persons have knowledge, skills, abilities and others, and motivation. So what we need to do, we need to match requirements, the job requirements, the tasks which the job has should be matched with the skills, abilities of the person. Now, if the job requires the skill of being very proficient in IT, then it should match with that, with the requirement of the task. Now, the rewards should match with the motivation. Now, when we all know that all the jobs doesn't require the same knowledge, skills, abilities and others. They don't require the same KSOs. All the jobs differs with respect to the KSOs. And all the people have the different needs and all the job varies with the rewards. So person has to match their needs with the rewards. Now take an example of a IT company. Now they wanted to make the robots for their new venture and they are very sure what are the requirements for their job and what are the skills and knowledge and abilities which are required from the people. So they are very sure and they have actually done they have matched the requirement with the KSOs. But what of the problem they have done is they underplayed with the rewards. They have underplayed with the rewards. So what happens if they have underplayed with the rewards? When they give the job offered to the valued people, they will not take it because their motivation is not, their need is not matching with what they are giving to the person. Secondly, now even if the person join, there will be a problem of retention. Why? Because whenever he will see that he will get a better job, he will leave that job. So the organization is not able to retain, is not able to basically bring the person, attract the person if they underplay with their rewards. There are many we have basically talked about person job match. Now we are going to talk about the fit. There are two types of fit. One is supplementary fit. What does it mean? A person supplements, embellishes or possesses characteristics which are similar to other individuals in an environment. An example of this involves fraternities and sororities, where newcomers often feel that they fit in the organization if they have similar values as others in the organization. Okay, let me take an example. Now suppose I am very passionate about an environment. I am worried that there should be very less carbon footprints. Now this passion of mine I have made as a profession, and I wanted to work for an NGO who works for the environment, and I get a job and I see that everyone is very passionate about the environment and they are working for it, they are planning or they are working to reduce the carbon footprints in the environment. So what I see that they are having the similar values as I have. So there is a supplementary fit. So we have the similar kind of values and we basically supplement each other. Complementary fit occurs when a person's characteristics make whole the environment or add some missing element to it. Complementary fit basically says that now there is IT people, there are a bunch of people from IIT Delhi. They started their own new venture, of making of a software. What they based a marvelous software, but the problem was that nobody was taking it or they were not able to market it well. So there was something missing in their team. So what they found that the marketing people, there is a marketing personnel is missing from their team. So what they did, they basically recruited a marketing fellow from their team to make it a complete environment, to make it a complete team. So basically complementary fit provides the logic behind most employment selection decisions. As such, people often are selected for work groups because they possess unique skills or abilities that the other group members lack. So when the complementary fit is there, you are selected because there is something missing into your system. You basically adds new value to the team. You basically add new skill set to the team. That is basically called as a complementary fit. Thank you so much.